Hello my people, welcome to another tutorial, and today I bring you this candy mini bag that I think is very cute with all these mixture of colors. I will be rocking this during this summer and I love it so much. I made it twice. You can make this taller or bigger depending on what you prefer. I have a written pattern at yarnc.com. I will leave the link in the description box or in the comment section so that you can check it out in case you want to buy the written pattern. So these are the two bags, and in the tutorial I'm going to be doing this one. I did this with acrylic while I crocheted this with cotton, 100% cotton yarn. So definitely this is a bit heavier because cotton is heavier than the acrylic, but you can also see the texture of the yarn. This is more glossy and looks better. But if you don't have cotton, you can use acrylic, and if you have cotton, just use cotton. And also the difference is in size, as the cotton yarn was a bit smaller, though I used 9 strands and here I used 7, but this was size 3 yarn and this was size 2 yarn. So I did a few more, about 3 rows here, longer than what I did for the acrylic. And what else? Here is a bit different also, as you can notice. I went more in here because I did about 8 stitches first here, and then here I did about only 7, but since this yarn is bigger, then it looks like it went more. So you can go more by doing more stitches here to this side before you reduce. Also, this is 4 single crochets, and here I did 5 single crochets, so it's kind of looks a bit bigger or thicker. So this is also something you can change if you like. And yeah, so those are the only differences. So the colors are also quite a bit different, but I like both bags, really. They're all pretty. You can change this and personalize it. You can make it longer if you like before we do the decreases. As you can see, it's a bit curvy, so we like start with few, then increase, then go straight, and then a little bit decrease, 2 rows of decrease, 2 rows of increase. So yeah, I think that's all. So this is the yarn that I'm using 9 strands and 9 colors. So this is Kira. It's 100% cotton and it's from Volido. It is 50 grams each skein. I had some leftovers and it recommends a 2.5 millimeter hook, but I'm going to be using a 7 millimeter hook. You can also use an 8 millimeter hook. So for the acrylic, I used this Miller from Volido. It is size 3. The cotton is size 2, so they are quite different. This I used 7 skeins. Okay, so now I'm going to be using 9 strands because it is size 2, and I'm using a 7 millimeter hook. You can use an 8 millimeter hook. I think the thicker the yarn, the better. So that's why I'm using these 9 strands. Okay, so we are going to make a slip knot to start, and we are going to make 16 chains. So chain 16. And I struggled because I think my hook was a bit smaller than the yarn, or it's just the struggle of working with 9 strands. I'm not sure. I think it's just the struggle of working with 9 strands, because you have to have like the same tension of the yarn or something, otherwise it's not looking good. Okay, so I kept pulling it like that so that I have all the yarns same. So this is about 6 inches long. Okay, so for whatever you're working with, I started with 6 inches long, so it could be more chains for you depending on the thickness of your yarn. Okay, so now we are going to start on the first round, and we're going to be working rounds. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to skip this first chain here, and in the second chain we are going to work 2 single crochets. So this is 1 single crochet, and then into that very same chain we are going to go in and work our second single crochet. So 2 single crochets. And now we are going to go on and work 1 single crochet in every stitch until we have 1 chain left to the end. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So I worked 13 single crochets, and this is my 13th. So I have 1 left. Okay, so it was 2 single crochets, then in 1 stitch, then 13 single crochets. So 13 single crochets, and then now the last that makes it already 15 single crochets, right? So the last stitch I'm going to work 2 single crochets. Okay, so I go in with 1, and then 2, that's 1, and then in the same stitch 2. So it was 2, then 13, and then 2. Okay, so now we are going to work on the other side, okay, of this chain. So this first stitch here, we are going to work 2 single crochets. So I'm going to go in. You can choose to work in that chain like that, or like directly in the middle. Okay, so I'll go in with 2, and then I am going to work 12 single crochets. Okay, so the other one was 13, but here is 12. Okay, so the first one I made 2 single crochets. Now I work 12 single crochets, so 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I just chose to work in the middle instead of the outer chain because it's easier. So I go into every chain with 1 single crochet until I have 12 single crochets. So the first side was 2 plus 12, that makes it a total of 15 by the time you get to the end, and you'll have 1 stitch left. You've got to have all the strands. Make sure you're not losing any strands on the way. So you will need a stitch marker. I forgot to tell you that. It's very important that you have a stitch marker. So once we get to the last stitch, we are going to do 2 single crochets in that last stitch. Okay, so it's two single crochets, then 12 single crochets, and then 2 single crochets in the last one. All right, so we are done now with round 1. Okay, we are done with round 1, and we need a stitch marker. So this next stitch, we are just going to go ahead and make 2 single crochets in that will be our first stitch of the next round. So now we are working round 2. Okay, so this is my first stitch, so always mark your first stitch, okay, so that you know where your rounds are ending and where they're beginning. So I will mark this as my first stitch of round 2. Okay, and we are going to be making 2 increases here. So in this very first stitch, I'm going to make 2 single crochets. So I already have 1, which is my first stitch, and then in that very same stitch, I'm going to go in and make 2 single crochets. All right, so I'll go into the next stitch and make 2 single crochets because we are making 2 increases. So 2 single crochets, and then I'm going to go ahead and work single crochets here. So it's 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, and then I will work 13 single crochets, stitches of single crochet. That means I'm working 1 single crochet in every stitch, 13 of them. So I worked my 13 stitches, so 2, 2, and then 13. And then now I'm going to work 2 single crochets in each stitch for the next 4 stitches. So 2 single crochets, that's 1, 2 single crochets in the next second stitch, yeah, it's a bit difficult to work with 9 strands. So 2 single crochets in the second one, and then 2 single crochets in the third one, and then 2 single crochets in the fourth one. So I made 4 increases on this side. Okay, and then I am now going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch, and I will work 12 stitches, 12 single crochets. Okay, so 12 single crochets, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then now I'll do my last increases, which is increasing in the last 2 stitches. So this will be 2 single crochets, okay, so 2 single crochets in the last one. So since we started with 2 increases and we are ending with 2 increases, we have 4 increases on one end and 4 increases on the other side. Okay, so now this is the end of round 2, and I have a total number of 41 single crochets. Okay, so we are done with increasing for this size of bag, but if you wanted to make it bigger, then you can increase a next round, maybe increase 3 single crochets in 3 stitches. So that will be, yeah, instead of how I was doing only in 4, you can do in 6. All right, so now the next round we are just always mark your first stitch. So we are just going to go around with single crochets, no more increases. So 1 single crochet in every stitch, and at the end you should have 41 stitches. Okay, 1 single crochet all the way round, no more increases. Unless you want to make your bag bigger, then you can make another round of increases. All right, so I'm done with my 41 stitches, and like I said, we are just going to keep repeating this, no more increases, 41 stitches on every round. Always mark your first stitch, and at this point I'm about 9 inches wide. Okay, so and this is about 3 inches wide, okay, with my first 3 rounds. So for the 4th round, it's going to be a repeat of round 3. So you take out your stitch marker and then mark your first stitch and then continue working one. Yeah, I have a strand missing, so make sure you have all the strands. So this is my first stitch, already marked it, and then I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch. At the end of it all, I should have 41 stitches, and you're going to keep repeating this until you have 10 rounds. Okay, and then we'll come and do decreases, and unless you want to make it longer, then you can continue until, you know, to the point how long you want it to be. But I will work 10 rounds, and then we'll come and do 2 rounds of decrease and then 1 round of not decrease, and then we are done. So it will be 3 rounds to go. Okay, so I'll meet you when I have 10 rounds. So these are my 10 rounds. 1, 2, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 rounds, and for the next round we want to make a decrease. So we'll make 2 rounds of decrease. So I am going to measure for you, and just for reference, this is about 5 inches long so far. This is in inches, and this is about what, 13 centimeters. So now let's start our row of decrease. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to make 2 single crochets first. So we're going to work in the next 2 single crochets. Always mark your first stitch. So this is 1 single crochet, and then we're going to work our second single crochet, and then we make a decrease. So we'll decrease the 3rd and the 4th. That means we are going to insert our hook like this, pull through, and then go into the very next stitch. Okay, so insert your hook, pull through, and now you have three loops on the hook, and then pull through all the loops. So we made a decrease. Okay, so now we are going to work, after our first decrease, we're going to work 14 single crochets before we make a decrease. So 14 single crochets, and then 1 decrease. Okay, so I'll see you when you've done 14. So I've done with my 14 single crochets, and now I want to make a decrease. So I will go into this stitch here, pull, then go into the next stitch, pull through, and then I have 3 loops, and then pull through all the 3 loops. Okay, so that is our second decrease, and now we are going to work 4 single crochets. So that is 1, that is 2, 3, and 4, and then we are going to make another decrease. So I'll just go into this stitch here, and make a decrease in the next 2 stitches like this. Okay, so now I'm going to work 11 single crochets. Once I have 4 stitches left, then I will come meet you so that we can do our last decrease. Okay, so 11 single crochets, and then we decrease. All right, so I will be left with 4 stitches to the end. Okay, so I'll meet you here. So I have done my 11 single crochets, and then made my last decrease, and then made 2 single crochets. So I went and did the whole thing. So it was 11 single crochets, 1 decrease, and then 2 single crochets. And then now we are going to do 2 single crochets. So we are now on round 12. So 2 single crochets, and then we make a decrease. just like we did in the previous round. Okay, so do a decrease, then 11 single crochets, then 1 decrease, then 4 single crochets, then 1 decrease, then 10 single crochets, then 1 decrease, then 2 single crochets. In the end, you should have 33 stitches, then do round 13, which is 33 stitches. So I'm done with round 12 and round 13. We did not make any increases. So now we need to do the handles, okay? So what we are going to do is, you see how this is right here. So we'll make some decreases before we go all the way up. So what we are going to do is we are going to make 6 single crochets. Okay, so we are going to make 6 single crochets. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll come back to this side because I want to add 1 more stitch on the other side so it is balanced. So we are going to only do 6. Okay, so once you have 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we need 6. So once if you want a little bit of a bigger base, then you can add more stitches. Okay, so we want it balanced, so I'll add 1 more stitch on the other side. Okay, so we do 6. I remove this stitch marker. It doesn't count, but I just want to show you what happens on the other side. So we'll add 1 more stitch on this side so that it is a bit balanced. Okay, so for the next round, we are going to turn our work because now we are not going to be working in rounds but in rows. So for the next row, you're going to skip this 1 stitch and then go right into the second stitch, and we are going to work 6 single crochets. So that was our first single crochet. This is our second single crochet, and then third single crochet, fourth single crochet, then 5, and then 6 is our last one. Okay, so it was 7 stitches that we worked in, but we skipped the first one here, so it is 6 single crochets because we skipped the first stitch. All right, so we are going to make another decrease, so you're going to skip that very first stitch there, and we are going to go into the second stitch and work a single crochet. That is 1, and we are going to work a single crochet in every stitch, so that is 2, 3, 4, and then the last one is 5. Okay, this can be tight, so I advise that your very first stitch, don't make it so tight. So this is 5 single crochets, and we're just going to repeat this basically. Okay, so we are going to be repeating like this. You just turn your work, don't make that so tight. Then just, we are not chaining a 1, I'm just going in straight with a single crochet in that very first stitch. We are not skipping now because we are working only 5 single crochets on every row. So I just work my third one, 3, 1. I didn't tighten that. So this is what happens when the tension is not okay. So I'm just going to work single crochets in every stitch. I'm sorry about the last, whatever row 12 and 13 was a bit rushed because I lost the footage, but I hope you got what I said. It is. Anyway, I wrote it down. So from now on, we are just going to work with 5 single crochets on every row, and I am going to do this until I have 41 rows. So I will do a total number of 41 rows then before I come back. After that, I come back and we do some 2 rows of increase because we need to take it back to 7 where we started. Okay, so just keep repeating row after row, 5 single crochets, and until you have 41 rows in total, and then we'll come make some increases. So it will be a total number of 43 rows for the handle, and then we can fix it on the back. All right, so 41 rows, and then I come to you. So this is what I have after my 41 rows. Let's see how many inches this is. It is 17 inches. You can make this longer if you like, or you can make like a very short handle, you know, like you don't have to carry it off your shoulder, like you want to just hold it in your hands, just do a shorter rows. So we are now going to make some increases. So it's just going to be very easy. So for row 42, we are going to increase in the first stitch. Okay, so once you turn your work, so we want to match what we did at the beginning. We had 7 rows and then 7 stitches and then 6 stitches. So now we are going to start with 6 stitches. So what we do is in this very first stitch, turn your work, and you're going to make 2 single crochets in that very first stitch. First and then second single crochet. So that is 2, and now I'm going to just work 1 single crochet in every stitch. So 2, and then I should have 6 in the end. So this is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So for the row 43 is going to be the same. We'll do an increase, 1 increase to make it 7. So it will be 2 in the very first stitch, 2 single crochets. And then this is 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 in that last one. And we are done with our handle, so we need to attach it to the other side of the bag. So what we are going to do is, this is how it should look like. So but we want to attach it, you know, on the wrong side. So you place it like this, right? Because we want to do slip stitches along here. Okay, so just make sure it's like in the middle of this. So you have like 3 stitches on this side, 3 stitches on the other side, and then the 1 stitch is in the middle. Okay, so just try to place it, or you can count stitches and make sure it's in the middle. I don't know, I like it easy, so I will just do some guesswork. And I'm going to go under these 2 stitches, not the one. The back side will be working under 2 stitches, and then the handle side only in the back loop. Okay, so I'll go in like this, pull my yarn through my first stitch, yeah, I'm struggling, I know, like this. Then I'm going to go in with slip stitches. So I will go under this second stitch here, 2 loops, and then into the second loop on the other side, but only in the back loop. Okay, oh, I lost a lot of yarn there, a lot of strands, so I do it again. I'm working only on the back loop for the other side of the handle, and on this other side I'm working both loops like this, back loop on the other side, and then slip stitch. And I'm just going to do this until I am at the end. And this should be my last one. But then once I'm done with this slip stitch, I'm going to go ahead and secure it with a slip stitch in here like this. Just try to make it tight like this. Then I'll chain one. This is how it looks on this side. It's not perfect, most perfect, but it's fine. All right, so I am going to make a chain one, then cut off my yarn. Chain one, leave some length to sew in, and then cut it off. So pull through, and I'm just going to weave it in the most easiest way. So I'll just go in with my hook and weave it in like this, all the way down until I'm sure it's enough, and then cut off the rest, and that should be it. I'll cut off the rest. So this is it, and this is how it looks. I hope you like it. I really like it, and if you do, please share this video with whoever. If you did it in acrylic or cotton, I would like to see your recreation, so tag me on social media. It's AC Crochets on all platforms, and please buy my pattern. Check the description and comment section for the link. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another tutorial. Bye.